Guys, like, I was scared to my bones. I literally called my parents. Like, I called my parents a few days before my exam that I'm really sorry if I disappoint you and I fail this examination. Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Joyce Busola for those who are new here, and if you're an OG, you're a returning subscriber. Hi, I'm so glad to have you here with me today. So if you are new here, please subscribe before leaving. Trust me, I know many of you watch my videos, you like my content, you comment, so why don't you subscribe? Please subscribe to my channel. My analytics actually tell me that about 63% of you guys that come to my channel and watch my videos over and over again are not subscribed. Please, why? And I actually always forget to talk about this in my videos. Like, I literally get carried away with other things that I don't talk about subscribing. But please subscribe to my channel. So guys, today we have a different kind of video. So it's a story time. I graduated from medical school about a month ago, and I just thought that it made sense for me to just talk about my experience here and just share with you guys the lessons, the mistakes, or just generally how I felt in the last 7 years, and how someone that is currently still in medical school here in Russia, or someone that is coming, can prepare towards finishing well and all of that. So yeah, without further rambling, let's get right into the tea. So guys, today's video is not scripted in any way. Like, I didn't even write notes. I just felt like, you know what, today is the 25th of July. It's been a month since I graduated. I just felt like I could still capture the emotions that I felt so far and all of that. First of all, guys, I feel like last month was literally one of the happiest days of my life, if not the happiest. And I was so shocked at the level of my joy with the amount of stress I'd gone through and the emotions I'd been feeling before then. I was actually really surprised at how joyful I was on that day. First of all, I give all the glory to God for that, because I knew that it was from Him. Like, it just could not have been from me, because if it was about me and how I really felt by the time I was graduating, you guys, it was a mixed feeling. If you've not watched my graduation vlog, you should watch that vlog. You will see, like, you could literally feel my joy. Like, even me, when I was editing, I was so happy and shocked at the same time at how much joy I was expressing that day. It's a month now, and first question, how do I feel at the moment? How do I feel now that I'm a doctor? First off, guys, like, I don't know. I'm not sure how I feel yet. First of all, I don't feel very confident. And when I mean I don't feel very confident, it means that medical school has a way of making you feel unsmart. I feel like many medical students can relate to this, or fresh graduates from medical school can relate to this, where you feel like you just stored up knowledge in your head over the years, but like it's nowhere to be found. That's kind of how I feel. I just feel like the knowledge is everywhere and it's not exactly put together. But then I'm also excited about learning. I remember someone asked me a question the other day, and then I didn't have an answer to it, and then the person was like, how much don't you know? And I was like, well, I have my whole life to learn and to figure out stuff on this journey, so like, why the pressure? And that's like the mentality I've had in the last 1 month. Every time I feel not confident, every time I feel like, oh my God, the whole world is finally going to know that you don't know anything. There's that imposter syndrome that can come with having a DR in front of your name and all of that. But I feel like I'm dealing with it very well. One way I think I'm dealing with it is just being optimistic and being happy and excited about learning, through this journey. The next thing I want to talk about is 7 years in Russia. 7 years in a Russian medical school. What was that experience like? First of all, guys, when I came into this country 7 years ago, I was literally devastated. Like, my friends, people that surrounded me, my parents, maybe not my dad, but at least my mom knew that I was not happy here at all. I just felt numb for like the first few weeks I was here. I think I just had this numb feeling. I wasn't quite sure what was happening with me, but I just knew that I wasn't so excited. Guys, I forgot to mention, I'm at my friend's place and I have a cat beside me. I'm not looking at him right now because I don't want him to distract me. So just in case you are looking at this cutie by your side, just focus on the video. Focus. I feel like it's giving me a great background just being by my side right now. But anyways, hi Alvis. Okay guys, yeah, back to what I was saying. When I came here, I feel like I was a bit numb for like the first few weeks. And when I started my preparatory school, you guys, I remember, just I don't have pictures of like what that looked like, but I was always so cold. I came in winter, I came in October, I came precisely October, I think October 29th. Sorry, I came precisely October 30th because I remember it was my friend's birthday the next day and we came together. So yeah, we got into Russia October 30th precisely, and I remember how cold it was. But then fast forward to like starting school, we started school like the next week after, I think, or like 2 weeks after, and that was like the beginning of winter. It was my first experience in somewhere so cold, and I didn't really know how best to deal with it. So every time in class, I would literally lie on the heater and I would sleep off. Like my Russian teacher, oh my god, she was so lovely. Oksana, she was so lovely. I don't know, every time I think about Oksana, I get very emotional because not so emotional, but like it's like emotions of like gratitude, because that woman was really helpful throughout my journey, especially like when we first got here. Like my classmates would literally be awake and all of that, but you guys, I would literally sleep off every time because I was so cold. Like even till now, I'm still not, I feel like you almost can never get used to the weather. Like you almost can never get used to being cold or like being in minus 30 something, you get that kind of thing. So yeah, that was like my major experience for the first few months. I was just always very cold, very tired, very sad. Like learning this language was so sad because they teach you Russian in Russian language. Like it's not like they're teaching in Russian like they're translating to you, like you're literally learning this in Russian. Like I don't know how to explain it, but like if the way you are taught English language in English, you are taught Russian in Russian as well, and the way they teach you French in French, that's how basically like that's how they teach us Russian language as well. So yeah, that was like my first few months. I didn't make any friends as well. Just had like acquaintances and my sisters that we came together. So yeah, and after that, like fast forward to 2015, I came in 2014, but fast forward to 2015, I started getting my way around. I started making friends. I also started modeling in 2015. It wasn't like full-time modeling, no. It was just like I started having like, I had my first shoot basically, and I just started to interact with people. But you guys, for the most part of 2015, you know what I spent my time doing? I spent my time doing makeup, like learning makeup. I was so interested in doing makeup on myself. Right now, I'm a makeup artist, so I'm really grateful that I kind of use that time for that. But then I feel like I could have spent my time in PATFAC better. So let me explain. First of all, this advice is for anyone that is freshly just coming into Russia. Your time in PATFAC, right, is a lot. Like you're going to have a lot of free time. I'm really sorry about those that they can't come into Russia now and they're doing their PATFAC online. I'm sure that would be very boring for you guys. But if you are here, and like you have the opportunity to like learn Russian language, even if you're in your first year or your second year, I want you to take advantage of your free time. You guys, maybe this is lesson 1, I don't know, but take advantage of your free time as a student. The truth is, the way the Russian timetable is, the kind of space learning, in some ways where even though they'll give you assignments and whatnot, you will still have free time. So I would advise that you spend your free time learning Russian language, you guys. All I did was surf the internet, just do random things. I didn't learn Russian language, guys. I didn't take my time to learn Russian language in my first year. I basically was just okay with the basics. I mean, I could go to shops, I could get things done around. And right now that, like 7 years after, I'm not regretting, but I wish I took my Russian language seriously back then. Like I wish I went back home I, maybe started reading more Russian books. I literally just stayed with all I was given in class. I wasn't curious. I wasn't interested in the language. I didn't even think I would need it, to be honest. Right? I knew I would need it because as at then I knew I was studying in Russian language, but I wasn't interested. I was angry and I was afraid, right? If you're like me and you are, just getting into Russia, or you're just starting your medical school, or I don't know, whatever course in Russian language, I want you to let go of the fear. That is lesson 2. Let go of fear. Do not allow fear to direct your life. Fear directed my life for the most part of medical school. I was very afraid. Remember when I was talking about how medical school had a way of making you feel unsmart? For the most part, for me, it wasn't just about the feeling. It was the fact that I was responding to that feeling with fear. So I was just always very afraid. I just always felt like I could not do it. I didn't believe in myself, So yes, believe in yourself. So yeah, that was basically how my PADFAC was, or my preparatory school was for me. So guys, fast forward to my first year, it was time for anatomy, and guys, anatomy wasn't funny at all. It wasn't funny at all. Every medical student can relate to it. Anatomy wasn't funny at all, and I really struggled. You guys, see, if I start to just recount my experience in first year, but what I would just say, the major lesson I brought out from my first year is that you have to stay close as a student in medical school. Even as a student generally studying in Russia, you have to stay close. You need your classmates. Either you are studying in Russians, or you are studying with your class, with people like you, fellow blacks like you. You need to stay close. Information will be passed around, and to be honest, if you are doing I'm a loner, you are going to be on your own. You literally be behind. Guys, the crux of my success in medical school, the fact that I was able to pass through medical school and pass it well, was the community that I had. Shout out to my friends, to be honest, because they were the ones. Medical school is tough enough, guys, and you now say that you want to do it alone. You want to form that, you are independent, you are whatnot. I'm not saying you cannot be independent and whatnot, but when it comes to your academics, you don't start forming independent. You need study partners. You need people that will be there for you when you are feeling low. There are many exams that I felt I cannot do it, and then my friends, my study partners will be the ones that will help me to understand some difficult terms, or just encourage me through studying through it and all of that. I'm saying this because anatomy just recounting my experience with anatomy just reminded me that it was staying close that really helped us. It was my group as a whole. Shout out to my group mates. It was my group as a whole that actually helped us. Another thing again, guys, is you need to ask your seniors. That's another tip. Not exactly a lesson, but it's a tip that I need you guys to know. You need to learn to ask your seniors that have done a course prior to you about the teachers in that department. What do they like in their presentations, in their assignments? What do they want to hear from you? What do they want to see from you? What are the past questions? What are examinations like in that department? You need to know as a student in Russia. I'm sure this occurs to any student anywhere in the world. I am talking to people that are studying in Russia right now. You need to ask your seniors all these questions already. Nevertheless, guys, I need you to understand that regardless of what they say about a teacher, you still have to have your own personal optimism, right? You still have to have your own personal belief in yourself, and personal belief that your experience will be good and will be different, even if it has been a negative experience with the teacher. So yeah, that's one major lesson I brought out from my first year. It was one of the things that I quickly learned in medical school, that you need to stay close. And you need information, you need prior information, you need prior knowledge, just so that you can have the best experience with your teachers and with the courses that you have. So in my second year, that was second year of preclinicals, and we had the opportunity to move to English medium, guys. That was literally the beginning of peace for me in medical school, and that was when things changed. That was when I mean things changed. Remember I told you guys I was always sad and very unhappy studying in Russian medium. Things changed for me because finally I, started to feel like I was a student and I knew what I was doing. Because that whole first year, I felt very dumb. I felt like I did not know what I was doing. I felt like I was just, in space. Like I lost touch with myself. I was literally just going with the notion, like, okay, submit assignments, do this, do that, do that. Like I was not in touch with medical school or even with schooling at all. And I want to put something out here. I said that English medium made me very happy, but in the long run, studying in Russian medium is still something that I'll consider better. Like if I could go back in time, I think I would have persevered, dealt with, the difficulty that came with the Russian language, and I would have probably studied in Russian, because that was going to help you learn more about that was going to help you with the language, interact with more Russians, build relationships and all of that. I didn't have a lot of that. Okay, I didn't have a lot of that in English medium because I was studying with my mates. All right. When I mean my mates, I mean I was studying with my fellow Africans in my group, so I didn't really interact with a lot of people outside. Although that could have changed. I think that's based on my personality, but I think it also role, in the kind of relationships I was able to build as well in school. So yeah, I changed to English medium. I started taking school so seriously. I remember like I was having biochemistry my second year. I would study ahead, I would pass my tests, I became more optimistic about school in 2016 because at that time we had changed to English medium and all of that. But yeah, it just continued and all of that. We passed all our exams and all of that. Then in my fourth year, gosh guys, that was the scariest year of my life in medical school. It wasn't even this final year, it was like my fourth year first semester. I remember we had pharmacology, we had neurology, we had Russian language final exams, and but guys, like I was scared to my bones. I literally called my parents. A few days before my exam that I'm really sorry if I disappoint you and I fail these examinations and all of that. By the way, guys, in Russia, you have the opportunity to rewrite your exam for the second time and for the third time if you failed it the first time. So yeah, this is like another lesson. When it comes to examinations, yeah, I would say that you should always attempt first. Like try and even fail yourself, then go and do it again, than not to try at all. Because that particular semester, I aced all my examinations. Like I cleared everything, and it was the scariest for me. Like so many things just happened in my favor during the examination, right? I don't even remember a lot of details, but what I'm trying to say is that when it comes to examinations, I think it's always okay to attempt first, and if at all you even fail, you now go for the second attempt or for the third attempt and try to pass again. But you should always attempt your examinations if you have the means to. I'm saying if you have the means to because, like, for example, let's say someone is owing school fees, or they were not able to like clear like their class debts and all of that during classes. They can't write examinations, so like they can't write in the first attempt. But like if you're not in that situation, if everything is, in order and you can write your examination first time, please take advantage of that and write your examination the first time